Yeah. So I gave my last speech in my introduction.
How dare you?
I got it at 6:30. My heart's like racing.
How dare you?
I need to drink some water. I got a cold.
Why would I mention you?
Look up.
I know. Storm out. I try not to talk about it. We're about 10 minutes out.
Yeah, we found out last night that they were like, you guys wanted to go cover it. They were like, pulling us on here, but yeah, it's still last minute.
It's a good week. Oh, so 3 days. We went like months with nothing, and then it's. Yeah, I forgot about that. What is he doing anything?
Perfect. Thank you.
Might be, but I'm not going to. Good. How you doing, Dan? Yeah. Oh my God, these numbers. Actually, running against Gavin Newsom. Yeah. Like, well, that's really rare. AI, where it like goes from the governor to no, yeah, just when I was watching the whenever I tried talking to you. It was like another one. Yeah. Not my usual. But like I was gonna
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good? Right.
1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
She didn't even forget about that thing. But like that's what we had.
They saw that you were like, oh my God, I was in it.
Yeah, Derek, I saw Derek.
And then I agree with them too. I
And that's Scott Monday. Yeah, Scott Monday. And all those reasons are yeah. One, it was a lot of NRCC or CLS. That's what I would.
You'll hear it. Yeah, you'll see if it's terrible. Just adjust it. It's a wrong. Like a wrong
That's what my partner does.
stuff.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be like coming. I use all of them honestly, like Eric, Ethan, and Leslie. I didn't really like any of them much. It's just like on the side giving like slight feedback. I was just using that acting.
She thought that she was done with her last one. Because usually like week 1, you can't repeat. Okay, we'll make one happen.
I texted them. I'm looking back for
I'm sorry, that's inconsiderate. Like, you're paying like you're driving for
yeah, that was direct. I had to go for my thing. I was gonna like, I was like, 7:57 at 7:33. It's like, okay, I'll be right back. No big deal. 8:05. Sorry, 8:10. 8:10. Sorry, 8:15. I was like, dude, I was already running late. And like, I was just gonna get my coffee on the way and go. And then I had to get my coffee. I just up until I got my coffee. And then when I got it, he was like, and I was like, I don't know. No, fuck. No, fuck this. Those are the two things.
He can stay in until he's done.
I get it, but like, it's just.
You said it, not me.
Like, I know my first birthday gets
You saw him.
but as long as you're okay with it, that's it.
I mean, I get it. Like,
He made me. It even now.
Okay.
no,
It's just, it's a long story.
So,
Oh, okay, okay.
it's not like that.
I was just looking out for you.
No, you're good.
Like, I didn't.
No, he didn't take it. Very nice person.
Okay.
It's sort of like give and take.
Yeah, I'll come down.
He was consistent.
That's good. Okay. I'm ready. I thought he had something else last week.
He came and well, he wanted a dumpster anyway, San Diego, just in the mud. But he mainly yeah. I felt bad.
Remember earnings of your rental from those things. 178. Can you confirm this?
But we rented out the Boston and we were not interested. Like a band or anything, you know. Yeah. Honestly, we got
So was it a drunk party? Even when I came, I mean, on someone's it really wasn't.
at one point he was
As if I was like supposed to be. No, but you wouldn't.
okay. So then he was like, well, yeah, then I go to Vegas. Yeah.
That's why I was asking you. Like, shouldn't you don't be?
did she want to do any color signs today?
If there's time, I'm sure she'd be happy to.
Yeah, she's in every single one of them. I was just looking like, doctors?
Big.
I've been like, they're like a friend of mine. Like the apartment. It's like, but it was really like, on his face. I really got to, it was just like, it was not like, you know, not taking a street off. It was just like, look at this guy. Well, especially because my guest list was you know, older people, it was like, it was probably like
Oh, yeah. Right. Definitely. Year, you know, a long time. And so,
you
know what I mean? And so like I was like, we could have every year to go with for a while because but like I mean there was like very
Yeah, that's when you said that. I remember we had for some reason
Locked off right now, saving batteries.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I'm not hearing anything. So I just wanted to make sure. That's essential.
We're good in this.
We'll unmute right as people start walking up.
Make sure something happens.
There's always one anxious.
apply for an OSIN like I'm not in OSIN events, but I'm on the investigative track, so I'm doing the events investigative. Were they mortified? I don't know. I thought about it. It was awkward. It was a lot, and that's why I kept saying let's go to office hours because I could tell no one knew what they were doing. And then, yeah, it was just really frustrating. And then, I'm not gonna lie, Sunday morning, Marjorie kept saying like write the analytics part. I was like, Marjorie, first of all, shut the fuck up because all of you did the analytics wrong, and I'm redoing it so I can write a correct statement. I'm gonna hang out. Editing while I was writing.
Let us all come to the next one. I was like, what are you second?
It was on. I know.
We have a group chat.
Do you have a place?
Some people, I mean, they put in like.
Got it. Okay.
In New York for 4 years. I didn't realize it.
So the point where I'm missing but you travel so much for work. She travels so much for work. I know that in New York.
I want to see that Robert.
I thought so too.
Really? Yeah.
That was like, that was our selling point to me.
Yeah. Right across the street.
When the seance weekend, she was not
Black Rock.
And now I know she's
No,
it was related. I will say going to office hours is fun. And I'm going again on Friday. Yeah. Maybe I did.
She said the corporate, like the corporate ownership.
Because I was going to take a quick
So, and he's fabulous.
Get ready here like 1 minute.
I'm like, this, and we're not creates choreography for production. There's a couple. Yeah, and this is always the same. Yeah, and then, do you make sure he's, yeah, so
How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you? You get my text?
No.
Oh, okay. I just said, make sure those, towards the end, make sure both those mics are on.
Oh.
And I need a second just to get my
This one's on that.
It is?
No, it is not on. Take the switches off.
Don't you need that?
Well, I think it's how many times has this been? You wanna
And,
it's like a studio lights do the same thing. They look like
right.
Well, you know, we tried to.
There we go.
Just like, yeah.
More time?
Understand the depth.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Retired in 2008. Yeah. When was the first time you were?
2007.
Okay. Yeah. His name is Victor Anastasia. If you can believe that.
Are you in? You're plugged in too, right?
Yes.
We're talking about the governor.
Or do you want to go ahead and join this one now?
Let's wait.
We're gonna have at least an hour, right?
Yeah.
On the battery.
Yeah, they're both fresh.
So are they giving you a recorder for this, or is this just a voice?
I'm also feeding it back.
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
are we
that's the
up
thing.
now?
It's just like,
Yeah.
Good to know. My favorite temple back
But we had to, you know, because New York just tripled theirs or doubled theirs like last year or so. So that was the thing too.
So you covered the governor in San Francisco.
I did. So
Well, it's funny. I was just thinking last week, the manager from the teachers was saying that right now New York is so user-friendly for productions that people prefer to shoot there to LA because LA is just weird. On numerous levels, not just government, but also like, is it there's this one hotel on the beach.
Oh, yeah, thank you, sorry.
And they said they tripled their rental fees, just like overnight, you know.
Thank you.
And so that's like, you know, everybody's trying to get a piece of it, but, you know, the business is hurting. So. Gotta, you know, so they're like back to the city hall. You know, not only what you can do is the government to take the people and sorry, she's working on it.
Yeah.
There's a whole task force. Yeah, so we'll see. But this just the tech.
When I'm,
huge
I
first
don't know if it's going to make a difference how I get this to you, but I'm also shooting time.
Much better. It was a lot to get there. It's just amazing, like a million separate meetings and side conversations. It just was a lot. It was a lot. So that was a big win. We're still literally like having meetings every day to like get that paperwork signed. Like today should be the day. I think it's gonna be today. Saturday, but we thought it was gonna be Friday, so like every day. Yeah, they got that figured out. Yeah, I don't really quite understand it, but they did. And they negotiated their side level, but that's all set. So today we should be something to say part for LOI and then the city. Today. I believe. Like in sequence. Yeah. Presuming that works out. This is really, we need to clear us. Got a clear little space.
Yeah, they're coming.
That's what I've been hearing.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I said good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. We have such an incredible announcement to talk about. I first want to thank the Downtown Women's Center for hosting us. I'm often asked, do we know what to do around solving homelessness? And the answer is yes, because the folks here at the Downtown Women's Center are doing it every single day. My name is Tamika Moss, and I serve as the Secretary of our Business, Consumer Services, and Housing Agency for Governor Newsom. And I'm so excited to kick us off in this exciting announcement today around our HAP Awards. We have some incredible partners all across the state who are doing the hard work every day of looking to resolve and address homelessness in our communities. And today, our Homelessness Housing Assistance Prevention Program, or HAP, we are acknowledging 36 communities across the state, 100 plus communities coming together as a region to figure out what can they do to address the homelessness crisis in their community. As of today, we have awarded more than $800 million across the state in our HAP program to address this crisis. Can we just pause on that? Resources that are critical to what communities need to address this challenge in their communities. And these grants exemplify not just resources, but partnerships. Our cities, our counties, our continuums of care, the state, local government, everyone needs to come together in order to address this challenge. And that's what we have today. When I think about before I was appointed to this position as secretary, I worked in communities in the Bay Area. And when we think about what do we need in order to really tackle this crisis, it's each and every one of us doing our part, being accountable for the outcomes that our community expects. And this round of our HAP funding, round 5, has increased accountability metrics, supports for local jurisdictions to do more, to really figure out how do we arrest this crisis once and for all. I'm really thrilled to be here in Los Angeles, and I want to just acknowledge the hard work that this city and county is doing. For every person housed in Los Angeles, there are 207 people housed in Los Angeles every day. But at the same time, 227 people experience homelessness in the same period. So unless we figure out solutions to address that challenge, we are never going to get where we need to be. And these resources, paired with our encampment resolution grants, our Prop 1 dollars, all of those resources and the administration's commitment to working with communities is how we're going to get here. So thank you all so much for being here. We have an amazing group of speakers lined up. It's my pleasure to invite Mi Young up to the stage from the Downtown Women's Center. Thank you all so much for being here.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Downtown Women's Center and the inspiring community of women and gender diverse individuals we serve, we welcome and thank you for being here today. Homelessness is solvable, and the collaboration of state and local leaders makes transformative impact possible every day. We're grateful to Governor Newsom, Supervisor Solis, Mayor Bass, and all of our partners and service colleagues who are collaborating with us to create sustainable pathways to housing, wellness, employment, and stability for women in Skid Row and beyond. At the Downtown Women's Center, we prioritize holistic, trauma-informed, and culturally responsive services that foster trust and choice. With a 98% housing retention rate, our programs keep women housed and connected to supportive communities. Thanks to the initiatives like HAP and Encampment Resolution Fund, together we served over 5,000 people annually and secured permanent housing for nearly 1,000 women over the past 5 years. Addressing homelessness requires ongoing support, and we are thrilled to have our key partners gathered here today. It's now my privilege to introduce you to Nancy, a peer specialist whose lived experience brings hope and purpose to her work. Please join me in welcoming Nancy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nancy. I am peer support specialist at Downtown Women's Center. Today, I stand before you as an advocate and a survivor who has found my path through healing and stability. My journey through homelessness, addiction, and navigating the system involvement taught me of accessible support and resources. Programs like those at DWC not only helped me build new skills and recognize my strengths, they empowered me to transform my life and deepen my commitment to helping others in their journeys to stability and growth. In my role, I have the honor of working with women of gender diverse individuals, meeting them where they're at in their journey towards safety, wellness, and housing. I know firsthand the unique barriers our community faces. I once lived unhoused, feeling so lonely, unheard, and without the support I desperately needed. But then I was able to connect with a network of compassionate advocates who build trust and consistently follow through. It was through patience, empathy, and active listening that I began to believe in change was possible. These are values we hold at Downtown Women's Center. In Los Angeles, in LA County alone, more than 23,000 women are experiencing homelessness. The recent Women's Need Assessment reveals that 90% of these women have endured trauma, underscoring the urgent needs for trauma-informed policies and support. Collaboration among our elected officials and community partners and ongoing tailored fundings are crucial to our shared vision of ending homelessness for women, survivors, and gender diverse individuals. Thank you for your support. Now it's my honor to introduce Dr. Felicia Adams-Kalem from LASA.
Thank you, Nancy. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here to express our gratitude to Governor Gavin Newsom and the state of California for their continued support of our region's work through Round 5 of homeless housing assistance and prevention funding. HAP calls for collaboration at all levels between providers, state, local, and federal agencies. That alignment is key. Only by working together, as Nancy said, can we move people from the streets to permanent housing. And we must do it quickly to end this humanitarian crisis. LA County has taken the collaborative mindset to heart. The City of LA's mayor and City Council, our County Board of Supervisors, and cities across the region are laser focused on addressing unsheltered homelessness. LASA's commissioners and staff work daily to make the rehousing system more efficient. Our coordinated homeless action plan helps us stay on track to achieve our shared goals and keeps us accountable to each other. And HAP funding provides resources that are vital to our rehousing system, including thousands of interim housing beds that come with housing-focused case management, and thousands of time-limited subsidy slots that give individuals, youth, and families the chance they need to get on the right track and to rebuild their lives. And it's working. Our last homeless count showed the first reduction in unsheltered homelessness in years. Last year, we brought 44% more people inside through street outreach compared to previous years. And we helped 25% more people move from interim to permanent housing. Our shared goal of ending unsheltered homelessness anchors this incredible success. Thank you, Governor Newsom, for your leadership and commitment to fostering collaboration, transparency, and accountability across the state. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the LA County Supervisor whose district we're in right now, a longtime champion of coordination and collaboration, especially in Skid Row. Please welcome Supervisor Hilda Solis.
Thank you so much, and a special shout out to Governor Gavin Newsom. Thank you for inviting me here this afternoon, and thank you for all our partners, Mayor Bass, and to all the elected officials, and especially our partners. And today we're, as you know, unveiling through the governor's efforts, $97 million that will be made available through the Homeless Housing Assistance Prevention Funds to Los Angeles County. But that's in addition to so much more that he has done. And I especially want to thank Downtown Women's Center for hosting us today right here on Skid Row, which lies entirely in the 1st District. Over the last couple of years, the state, county, and city of Los Angeles have been working together to address homelessness right here on Skid Row. And it all started right here at the Downtown Women's Center. And I have to say that it's a very powerful, powerful presence that we have. A couple of years ago, the Downtown Women's Center approached me with a plan to house every woman on Skid Row. Since then, I've been working with the City of Los Angeles, LASA, and the state, our governor's office, to implement the Every Woman Housed plan. We received $14 million in state encampment resolution funds, particularly to implement this program. And I've also committed an additional $3 million from my own discretionary funds to support the Downtown Women's Center in their projects. Since the launch of Every Woman Housed program since 2021, 453 women have been placed in permanent housing and another 737 found interim housing. This has contributed, as you heard earlier, as a 42% drop in unsheltered women right here in Skid Row from 2022 to 2024. In addition, the Every Woman Housed plan that we are implementing here also complements our Skid Row Action Plan. The Skid Row Action Plan also received $60 million in the state through Governor Gavin Newsom's Encampment Resolution Fund. Thank you again, Gavin Newsom. With these funds, we've been able to move nearly 2,000 Skid Row residents into interim housing and almost 1,000 found permanent housing. We're also working with the City of Los Angeles, the mayor, to support Skid Row residents in the Mayfair Hotel, which the city, through her efforts, just opened and repurchased. The county has committed nearly $5 million annually to provide enhanced behavioral health services for residents living there. These results show up, and we can accomplish this and continue because of strong partnerships and our across jurisdictional supports. And I have been an advocate, as many of you know, for smaller cities. I represent a large portion of the San Gabriel Valley, and I'm happy to say that they too have benefited from the state HAP funds. And I especially want to call out Baldwin Park, Montebello, Pomona, and even the City of El Monte, who have collaborated with us, because we know that it doesn't just stop right here in the city boundaries of Los Angeles, but it goes far beyond that. That's why we are all working together. The governor has really shown this clear how important it is to collaborate in this partnership with our cities, with our local COGS, and with all of our partners, including Mayor Bass. And with that, I am pleased and honored to welcome my friend, the Mayor of Los Angeles, Mayor Karen Bass. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Supervisor Solis, and I also want to thank our other partner on the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Barger. Thank you so much for being here today. And I want to thank the Downtown Women's Center for the work that they do every day, saving lives. The Homeless Housing Assistance and Prevention Program is critical to our success here in Los Angeles. That funding has helped us to get to the point where we can announce for the first time in years, homelessness is down. That's right. Round of applause for that. The only way we can show results is through a comprehensive approach. Groups like the Downtown Women's Center work to rapidly rehouse Angelenos and provide comprehensive services. I was just at an Inside Safe operation this morning in the Pico Union area where we were working on tents as well as RVs and moving people off the streets and inside. So we housed this morning more than 30 Angelenos. As we've gone about this work, we know that the system is complex. We know that there's many areas of dysfunction, and one of the historic areas of dysfunction was bickering and finger pointing between different levels of government. But this is an example, what you see today, of work that we have been doing for the last couple of years, which is bringing every level of government together. And let me just especially thank our governor, who has been a terrific partner, not just in terms of the resources, and thank you for those resources, but also part of the complexity that we have to deal with are regulations, administrative policies, as well as state legislation that either contribute to putting people on the street or make it so difficult to get people off the street. You signed a number of bills this session, several of them we put forward, bills that we identified would resolve barriers, one of which related to RVs. So you could take an RV off the street, but then you're forced to kind of put it back on the street because you have to immediately auction it. So several things that we need to do to change the system, working in partnership with the governor, the county board of supervisors, the city, and our nonprofit organizations, and then of course our housing services administration. At LASA, Dr. Valicia Adams-Kellum. All of us working hand in glove to bring down for the first time the numbers reduced. This is the type of collaboration, the type of financial support, and the type of regulatory change that we need to finally solve homelessness in our region. Thank you very much, and let me now, of course, bring up the man of the hour. This is nice to invite you to the podium for the second time in a couple of days to make a very important announcement for our region. Governor Newsom.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you to all the speakers for all your hard work. Thank you for contributing to demonstrable success as it relates to unsheltered homeless here in Los Angeles. We are seeing progress in many parts of the state, and we're seeing stubborn issues in other parts of our state. No one is naive about the challenge of this issue. No one is naive about the public's perception of our progress in the state. No one is denying how angry people are, how frustrated they are, and how heartbroken they are. I was just reminded, quite literally, just driving in, we're at a stop sign, and two beautiful young kids, no older than my kids, with backpacks on their way to school, seeing things that they can't unsee, see things that they shouldn't see in terms of those that are struggling out on the streets and sidewalks. So no one is naive about the challenges that we face, not just here in Los Angeles, but throughout the state of California. But the state has stepped up in ways that the state has never stepped up in the past. So I remind everybody, because I think it's important to be reminded of this, the state of California was not invested in the issue of homelessness until just a few years ago. The state was absent. When I was mayor of San Francisco, the state offered no measurable support to address the crisis of homelessness that has persisted for decades and decades here in our great state. It wasn't till the last term, or rather year, of Governor Brown that there was pressure coming from what we referred to at the time as the Big 13 mayors. And they demanded the state appropriate resources. That's the framework of the announcement we're making today. They created a program that has become what we refer to as this HAP program. They put about $500 million up with no accountability, no expectations. It was just money to go to the cities and counties and these regional agencies we call COCs. Since then, we have significantly increased the investments, but we've also increased the accountability, transparency, and the expectations. And so what we want to advance today for your consideration as we announce the distribution of $827 million to 37 jurisdictions throughout the state of California, including not just LA City and LA County, 160 million to the city, 97 million to the county, but also to the CACs that include Pasadena, include Long Beach, and include Glendale. A regional framework where there was a memorandum of understanding, a contract that was established and formed before the application was turned in. An expectation of roles and responsibility and relationships between the city and counties, these larger COCs and the smaller COCs. A framework of expectation and reporting that would no longer be put at a quarterly or biannual basis, but at a monthly basis. An expectation that the rules and regulations that are well established in contract templates throughout this state as it relates to being in compliance with state rules, housing rules, particularly housing element, that they were component parts of the renewed expectation. A different framework of engagement at all levels of government. That's exactly what the mayor was just expressing. It's exactly what the supervisor was just expressing. A need and desire to move away from the finger pointing and the jawboning to a relationship of accountability. Everybody is accountable. No one should be immune to any accountability. And that's why we've also stepped up our efforts to enforce that accountability. Ask my friends in Norwalk. Ask our friends in Huntington Beach. And the way we've done that as well is we've reorganized our delivery system through the work Tamika's doing and what we refer to as HCD. They do grants. They do them well. They're approximate. They're adjacent. They're accountable to this new housing accountability unit where we just brought in homelessness into the accountability frame. Therein lies the why Norwalk. They were the first as it relates to that framework of accountability, as was Huntington Beach, as it relates to being the first as it relates to the housing accountability. In order not just to incentivize good behavior, but to disincentivize bad behavior. And I say this with love and admiration as a former supervisor and mayor. It's not the state's job to realize the state's vision. The state vision is realized locally. Localism is determinative. It is bottom up, not top down. And that's incredibly important. The state's role and responsibility is to support those efforts, to clear all of those hurdles and all of the challenges, and that's what the mayor was just referring to, and a number of efforts that she initiated and sponsored that we enthusiastically supported, and to continue to iterate in the spirit that defines the crisis at hand. And that's the final point I want to make. This is a crisis, and it requires a crisis mindset. We can't conduct business as usual. People are dying on our watch. These kids are struggling and suffering. Seniors, Hilda and I were just talking about how many more seniors we're seeing out on the street. That's not who we are, and it's not what we should be. And we are committed to doing more and doing better. But we're also, in the spirit that defines this moment, also committed to highlight excellence. And I'm honored to be back here. I've had the privilege of sneaking in here on my little walks in Skid Row to see how this remarkable facility and organization is doing. I know a lot of your private funders. I want to thank them. It's not just the state and city and county that are supporting some of the federal money, but a lot of folks individually and entities, corporations that have been supporting your work. And it goes to the spirit of what Tamika said. This can be solved. Don't fall prey to the cynicism. Don't. I mean, there's just tens of thousands of people, tens of thousands that are evidence that prove your cynicism wrong. You are an example of someone proving those that say, well, this just simply can't be done, and people then just roll over. But we recognize the scale of it. And so this $827 million, these 37 grants, by the way, there's 5 more pending with a higher level of accountability, Orange County, Anaheim, pending, higher level of accountability and scrutiny. This money is part of a larger strategy, as was noted by Tamika, encampment resolution grants, $1 billion. Not a dollar existed 5 years ago for that, $1 billion. That's to resolve the underlying issues of encampments, not just to remove them out of sight, out of mind, but to create connections. And today we're also announcing a new framework as it relates to an executive order I did a number of months ago, you may recall, around accountability and enforcement as it relates to what's going on with encampments. We also now have a new template that we put out as it relates to prioritization of encampments, health and safety, 48-hour notification minimum, and expectations as it relates to service connections as well. So that's the broad strokes of what we're advancing here today. And final point, when we open up to questions, this is the 5th round of HAP funding. The 6th round was approved just in June. That's money that will come later, another $1 billion of investment that we will make. The 6th round has even higher levels of requirements and accountability. And we're going to be talking a lot more about that before those dollars go out as well. So we're starting to scale a different relationship of expectation in terms of the dollars and different accountability as it relates to data collection and transparency. Again, that's bottom up, that informs the state component and federal support of these efforts. So I'm grateful again to the legislature for their stewardship and support of this process. I'm grateful to our team for their outstanding work. I'm grateful for the cities and counties that have embraced Care Court, those that will embrace and are embracing our conservatorship reforms, and all of those that will be working in partnership with the state and renewed energy starting in January as we implement or move towards the full implementation of the Mental Health Services Act reform, which will fully go into effect in July of 2025. That will flood the zone in terms of prevention dollars and housing dollars to address exactly what Tamika was saying around stabilizing populations as opposed to being on the back end as it relates to a rapid response to the issues, affordability, mental health, drug addiction, and the like. So again, gratitude to the mayor, her partnership, and gratitude to the Board of Supervisors for their partnership, the spirit that brings us together. We've strengthened that today, and we'll commit to strengthening it further tomorrow as well. With that, here to answer any questions.
Hi, Governor. Alex Michelson, Fox 11 News. You know, there's a lot of people that look around these streets and are very frustrated. I know you're very frustrated as well. And they see all the spending, $24 billion in spending, and the problem's gotten worse. Is this really about spending more money, or does something else have to change? And what do you say to people who don't trust that the money will be spent well?
Well, I hope they'll take a look at the specific proposals and what we've outlined here today. I think we've answered a lot of those concerns as it relates to transparency and accountability, as it relates to that accountability manifesting in real action by the state of California. You can talk not just to the 2 cities that I recognize as it relates to some of our legal actions, but those that we've settled with all up and down the state. We mean business in a very different way than we have in the past. The fact is, as the mayor said, and I applaud her and I applaud the county, you saw a reduction here. You did. You saw a reduction in unsheltered homeless. And that's got to be we do everything. No one's naive. But we have to address the conditions on the sidewalks with laser focus and prioritization. These encampments intense. People are dying and suffering on our watch. There's nothing humane about stepping over people on the streets and sidewalks. So that's where we're going to be really reinforcing our energies and prioritization. At the same time, as I noted, you've got to address the underlying issue in the first place. But look, we are addressing those rightful concerns that are expressed. This is not status quo ante today. We are not announcing an old strategy. We continue to iterate and are advancing a much more targeted strategy that's focused on results and accountability that people can feel and people can see that are not just numerics that make no sense to them.
Are you suggesting that Orange County's proposal wasn't enough?
No, I'm suggesting that their unique proposal, which I qualify as unique, just required a different level of scrutiny. It's not an indictment. By the way, if you're from Orange County, you may be offended by that. I didn't intend to cast any aspersions, quite the contrary. It's showing a different scaling or scaffolding of scrutiny that the state is placing on all of these applications. As I said in the past, it was just send the money down, whatever happens, happens. That's no longer the case.
Hi, Governor. Melanie Mason with Politico. You were here a couple months ago and spoke about how, in particular, the counties were addressing the homelessness crisis, and you were quite critical. In fact, you said it was an indictment on how the counties were addressing this problem. Is that still your assessment today? And as a follow-up, what is your position on the LA County Measure A?
I think we can all do a lot better. City, counties, state, regional partners. I think the federal government can do a lot better as well in this place. I stand by what I said a few months ago, and I'm proud to stand with the two outstanding supervisors that, in the spirit of what was expressed, have stepped up and supported this renewed partnership and have embraced the framework of this new partnership. They wouldn't be here otherwise, so I applaud them for that. As it relates to local measures, I haven't weighed in on any of them. I represent a state the size of 21 state populations combined. I can't even begin to tell you how many local initiatives I have been asked to weigh in on. I simply don't have the bandwidth capacity. I trust your local leaders, and I trust your voters to make the right decision.
Hello, Governor. This is Raj Vora. Being an Angelino, I feel like I'm in a double engine, and I wanted to compliment you, Mayor and Supervisor, for a wonderful job. My question related to homelessness: can we do the big warehouse type setting where at the same time a lot of people can be moved in temporarily at the same time but clear much faster, and then later on when more housing comes up and acquire, they can be moved there?
So our priority, we've got sort of pro-housing framework, pro-housing, housing first. I know this can be a point of discussion for folks. Our humble opinion is this, and the answer to your question, I'm going to get to more specifically this notion of larger scale solutions. But we believe, old saw goes like this, that housing and supportive services solve homelessness, shelter solves sleep. And so that's how we prioritized our approach to funding. That does not suggest that sleep is not important. Stabilization is not important. Interim steps are not important. In fact, some of the applications that I referred to in those 5 applications are around the distinction between interim housing and supportive housing. In fact, therein lies the why those 5 applications are further being reviewed. It goes specifically to your question. But look, I would, my personal bias, and I leave it to the local leaders to make the determination. Again, state vision realized locally, that we've got to get people off the streets and sidewalks, and we've got to get them out of these tents and encampments. And however we can do that in a compassionate, thoughtful way to stabilize folks, to create, as we say in psychology, a pattern interrupt, to give people service connections and give them a chance, is a hell of a lot, excuse my language, better than the status quo of seeing tents and encampments on the sidewalks and streets of our great state. But with that, I'm going to defer to local leaders that will tell you what they have in mind. Okay, what's our next question?
Hi, good morning. Irene Cruz, ABC7. This question is for you, Governor, and Mayor Bass. While we have you, we were wondering if you could get comments on the other big story affecting LA and SoCal, which is the World Series. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling? How are you feeling about the Dodgers' success? Are we going to pull it off today? What is your message for fans who might be celebrating, and how can they celebrate safely? Also, is there a parade being planned right now?
Well, let me just say, first of all, go Dodgers! 3rd game in a row, one more. We're keeping our fingers crossed. It has been spectacular to see what we have done. And then in going to hostile territory, I talked to Mayor Adams last week, so our bet, I know you have a bet going on too. Yeah, well, our bet is that we want to see him in that Dodger jersey at City Hall in New York. And we're not going to jinx anything, but we'll all be watching tonight just to see if we can like wrap this up quickly.
Governor, do you have
Oh, I have
any
so
thoughts?
many thoughts, but all of them are going to get me in trouble, so I'm going to maybe keep them myself, except to say this. Don't run the 90-yard dash. Cautionary tale, just very brief. The Giants were going to beat the Angels. It was a done deal. We bought all this. The entire parade was all set up. We had a warehouse filled of, all kinds of, celebratory, whatever. We lost that World Series. The good news is we won in 2010 and we used all of that surplus. So all I'll say is be cautious. And I also will say, you'll follow in the footsteps if you do sweep of the San Francisco Giants and swept the Detroit Tigers in 2012. That's why I said 2012. But it's nice to see another California team taking that lead.
Mayor, you forgot about the plane.
Oh, yeah, what are you doing?
Well, no,
you can't say what
seriously, you're absolutely right. I can't say what we're doing. I will tell you that we will be prepared. We will be prepared to welcome our Dodgers back to LA, and we will be able to welcome them back, but we're just not going to jinx it, like you said. But I will be hopeful. So impressed with the first three.
Next level. Legit. And again, I hope you recognize what I'm wearing today. From my respect, my audience.
Good morning, Governor. Good morning, everyone. Do you hear me? I'm represent Slavic News in California, and I have two questions. And the first one is recent reports indicate that the official number of the homeless individuals in California stand at 185 or 86,000. I hope it's less. I just want to confirm the number. And the second question is, while major cities like LA, beautiful San Francisco, and beautiful, amazing Sacramento have significant resources to assist, unfortunately to say that, homelessness, there's a plan to provide support for smaller towns in California or incorporated areas, because I know some of them, they have some people walking around like months and they don't know what to do with them. They cannot push them because they're afraid to push them, and there's no nothing locally that you can go and say, hey, I have some people, they need help, basically. Yeah. Thank you.
No, and I appreciate that point, and that's why I made the point around Glendale, Long Beach, and Long Beach, a larger city, but Glendale and Pasadena being important parts of this partnership. We're including every part of the state of California. This is by no means an issue that's now defined as a coastal problem as it once was 20, 30 years ago. This is a problem you're seeing in every part of the state of our state, and as a consequence, our state of mind is to invest in solutions and programs in the most rural parts of this state, the northernmost parts, southernmost parts, inland parts of California. In fact, we're seeing some of the biggest progress in some of those communities, working very closely, as an example, with Mayor Dyer in Fresno, has done an outstanding job. I will note, in Sacramento, San Francisco, and LA, the three you referenced, they did see a reduction last year in unsheltered population. The number you quote is roughly, and by the way, those numbers are always estimates. They should always be considered as such because of the way that data is collected. But that's roughly the number, which is, I think, the most distressing point. That's roughly the number we had in 2005, 20 years ago. Plus or minus, it's slightly larger, but we had that number roughly then. So this is an issue decades in the making. And the original sin, I'll continue to say it, is affordability. It's housing. And we're as dumb as we want to be as a state. It's not complicated. It's Econ 101, supply, demand. And that's why we've been so aggressive in terms of all our SEQA reforms, our housing and land use reforms, the work we're doing on housing accountability across the spectrum to drive more construction, more housing. Because unless we address that issue, we'll continue to be on the back end of this affordability crisis.
Hello, Governor. My name is Roz Medati from US Annenberg Media. My question is, you emphasized accountability and transparency. How is the state ensuring that the unhoused individuals and organizations supporting them are utilizing these funds to their fullest potential?
But I'd love to have you guys talk a little bit about perhaps, the criteria of consideration as relates to your own place.
Well, I think it's important to note that it is about collaboration and each of us play a part. The piece of about accountability is setting goals for reductions in street homelessness, making sure that there's what we call throughput. That's what we're talking about. The number of people who are moving in from the streets and all the way to permanent housing. And we've set goals for ourselves collectively. And we now have new dashboards that will actually give daily report outs and report card for our collective work. So that's really where we're going with this. Thank you.
Look, we're tidying up all, you've got an HMI, I want to get into technicalities, but an HMI system, which is a requirement under federal guidelines, relates to individual ID data for those that are accessing service. That is also being linked to the state of California, has been. We're strengthening that. That's another part of the announcement today on the updated reporting requirements. Again, that monthly data, not quarterly or biannual data, all of it in an effort to really drive your point, your question home on accountability, outcomes, measurable, that people again can see and feel on this issue. Unless people see it, they don't believe it. And I understand the frustration listening to press conferences like this over and over and over and over and over and over again, and yet people continue to see this problem persist on their streets and sidewalks. So they're demanding more, we should provide more, and we have a higher expectation of just that, more and better outcomes with this new approach.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. All right, we're done. After that Dodger question. That was the question.
Congratulations.
14. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Natasha, can we get Long Beach CLC for the next one? Yes.
Not pleasing?
Yeah, that's like the best.
This is a big deal. Oh, that's
Director Gustavo Velázquez de Departamento de Vivienda y Community. Es HCD en inglés.
Right behind you.
Well, it's too busy. Yeah. I haven't seen you in court for a while.
Friday.
You were oh, but you didn't come. On Friday you were working.
In the afternoon, I was on the executive committee, and I was there in the morning.
Yeah, but you weren't actually. That was the VA in the morning. You were in the side somewhere negotiating.
Oh yes,
That's right. Yeah.
I saw Vicky test out. Maybe. I'm not sure. It's so peculiar that he couldn't
Дорогие друзья, несмотря на то, что эфир заканчивается, I'm sorry, the title was in English, but я говорю по-русски сейчас, то, что губернатор только что удалился с пресс-конференции, и мне удалось записать небольшое видео для нашего украинского сообщества в Лос-Анджелесе, что очень важно. Ну и было очень приятно, конечно, задать им вопросы, которые нас больше всего интересуют. Не все, но я думаю, что в будущем у нас будет такая возможность. Всем удачи и хорошего настроения. Берегите себя.